So I was talking to a friend a while back, and their story really got to me. They were doing great, life was good, sailing along in their 50s, and then bam, everything changed.
Oh,
Lost their job, health took a hit, like a total, just everything turned upside down.
that's rough.
Yeah, they had to like completely rebuild their life and finances from square one. Really makes you think. Life can throw those curveballs at any age, and sometimes they come out of nowhere.
So true. And starting over at that point in life, yeah, it comes with its own set of challenges. Like you might feel like, is it too late? Or worry about ageism when you're looking for work.
Exactly. And that's actually what brings us to the story we're diving into today.
Okay.
It's about someone who's 55 and, well, they're facing a real uphill battle after a tough divorce 10 years ago.
I see.
What makes it even harder is that they were a stay-at-home parent for 15 years, then had to deal with a serious illness, and now they're struggling to make ends meet. It's like one setback after another.
Yeah, that's a tough situation. And unfortunately, it's not uncommon. A lot of people, especially caregivers who've been out of the workforce for a while, face these kinds of hurdles when they try to get back in.
It's true, but to their credit, this person has been really proactive. I mean, they went back to school, got a degree in healthcare administration, and they've been actively searching for work.
Absolutely. That takes a lot of resilience and determination.
It does.
But let's be real, starting a new career at 55, there are going to be obstacles. Ageism is a real thing, and it can make breaking into a new field that much harder.
For sure. And they mentioned they're only making $20 an hour as a contract worker. No benefits, no raises, just constantly struggling to get by. So I'm curious, for our listeners out there, how would you approach this? Could you make ends meet on $20 an hour, especially with debt to consider?
That's a tight spot, no doubt,
But
especially when you factor in they have $60,000 in student loans, $3,000 in credit card debt, and no retirement savings to cushion things. Those burdens can really impact your future.
it's a lot to handle. And not having stable income or benefits just adds to the stress. So let's switch gears and talk about some of the advice this person received.
Okay.
There were some really interesting suggestions.
Yeah, one that popped up a lot was looking for higher paying jobs within healthcare administration, like hospital registration or government positions.
Right. And government jobs, those often come with stability and benefits you don't find elsewhere, sometimes even pensions. What do you think about that, listeners? Does that kind of security sound appealing?
It's definitely worth considering, and those roles usually fit well with a healthcare administration degree. So it's not about completely starting over, but using existing skills to find a more secure and financially rewarding path.
I love that. And there's another suggestion that I thought was great. They talked about using their previous experience in interior design as a side hustle.
That's a smart move. It taps into skills and interests they already have and could bring in extra income without a complete career shift. There were even specific ideas like home staging or working for places like, Pottery Barn or Crate and Barrel.
Those are great examples.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to managing finances. There was a big emphasis on budgeting and tackling debt, even on a tight budget.
Right. It might seem basic, but it's super important.
Absolutely. It's about taking control of your money.
Exactly. High interest debt can drain you, and if you approach it strategically, you can free up a lot of cash flow over time.
So true.
Think of it this way. Every dollar you're paying in interest is a dollar you can't use to build a better future.
That's a great way to put it. It makes you realize how much those little choices add up.
Totally. And then, even though retirement might seem far off, starting a Roth IRA was another common suggestion.
That's a good point. I'm glad that came up. Can you explain the benefits of a Roth IRA, especially for someone starting a little later in life?
Sure. With a Roth IRA, your contributions grow tax-free, and even small amounts can make a difference over time. Starting now, even with a limited budget, can have a big impact on your financial security down the road.
It shows that it's never too late to start planning.
Right. And then housing costs were a big concern. There was advice about affordable housing programs, shared housing, even moving to a more affordable area.
Those are all big decisions. What are some things our listeners should consider when thinking about these options?
It really depends on your situation and what's important to you. Affordable housing programs can be a huge help, but they often have long waiting lists. Shared housing might be easier to find, but you need to be willing to compromise and be careful about who you're living with. And relocating, well, it could lower your costs, but you might be leaving your support network behind.
That's a lot to weigh.
Yeah, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Now, let's not forget about the legal side of things. Since they were married for 15 years, they might be eligible for spousal benefits from Social Security. That's worth looking into.
And some people even suggested exploring legal options to recover assets, though that can be tricky and costly.
True. It's not a decision to make lightly, but it's important to know all your options. You know, reading through all this advice, I was struck by how much support and encouragement there was. It's a good reminder that even when things are rough, you're not alone.
Absolutely. Community and support systems are so important. And there are resources out there, from local organizations to online groups. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. It's a sign of strength, not weakness.
Definitely.
And one last thing that came up, it's a bit sensitive, but someone suggested talking to their college-age child about the possibility of financial support.
It's a tough conversation, but sometimes it's necessary. It's not about demanding help, but having an open conversation as a family and seeing what's possible.
And there are stories of adult children who have been able to support their parents in similar situations. It shows how powerful family can be when you need it.
For sure. At the end of the day, what stands out most to me about this person's story is their strength and determination. They're actively looking for solutions and not giving up.
That's so inspiring, and it's a great message for everyone. No matter how tough things get, there's always hope, always a way forward.
It makes you think, what can we learn from this about being financially prepared and planning for the unexpected?
That's a question we should all ask ourselves.
They,
And it's a good reminder to check in on our own support systems and resources. Who do we have in our corner? What steps can we take to build a more secure future, even when things are uncertain? Remember, you're not alone on this journey.